I think it is beneficial to a wide variety of students that have such a structured day or such a structured life that they need some flexibility in their schooling. They have either part-time work commitments, or they have life commitments, or just other different things are going on with their lives, that a 9 to 3 school day isn't the most ideal situation for them. And so the online courses really do give some flexibility to that kind of learner. The students who are the most successful are the ones who are the most motivated. They actually sought out the e-learning course, they knew about it, they were knowledgeable before they signed up. I find those students are having the easiest time. They were looking forward to the experience, and then the experience has actually been rewarded, they've been rewarded with a positive experience. So it really is important to keep the material that you're working with really, really current. And I find that the course, the LMS, the course structure, allows me to really put in things that are going, for Tiger Woods today, I can throw in Tiger Woods stuff. I can keep my examples as current as possible because the overall structure allows me to put in my own content. So I think that's a great feature. Being able to link with the internet very easily, I think that's an excellent feature. The communication feature, the paging and the email is fantastic. I think actually they're the lifeline. Without the email, I would find it a very stilted environment. I find the email allows for a lot of authentic communication. So I think that's a really useful, from a teacher point of view, a really useful tool. I love Adobe Connect. Adobe Connect, let me start by saying, my own philosophy for e-learning is that online courses are successful when they blend a one-on-one or a person connection with the online environment. Adobe Connect has really allowed me to do that. It's taken a text-based course and brought it to life. So what I really love about Adobe Connect, I tried it last year and we had a couple of sessions where we met literally virtually with the students. This year I try to do it every week, and it is phenomenal for building community. I have students who log in every week, they talk about having a class party at the end, and these are kids who have never met. So it really is fantastic for building a community in the classroom in an online environment, which is really challenging. The other thing I love about Adobe Connect is I get to teach. I don't just administer assignments, I don't just say turn to page. I actually get to teach. I get to show them videos, I get to discuss, we get to pause, we get to highlight and point out different things in advertising. I'm talking about media studies specifically. But I really, really like the authentic teaching-learning relationship that's developed through Adobe Connect, and I think the kids actually appreciate that as well. They get to ask questions in real time, I get to answer them in real time. There's a face, a voice to a personality that they would otherwise only see on a website. Oh, that's the next thing. Okay, so the other thing I want to do, so I really wanted to, I kept thinking about how am I going to make more connections with these students. And we all live in the GTA, so, and I take my media classes on field trips all the time. I thought, well, what would be the big, this is one of my 6 classes, why wouldn't I include them in a field trip? And so I'm just working on the logistics of that now, of getting the permission forms out to them, and probably virtually in a PDF where they would get them signed and have them, you know, virtually sent back to me. And then we would have our meeting place wherever our location would be. We'd go to City TV, we'd go wherever it is our media field trip would take us. But there's no reason, there's no impediment, it's not an obstacle. And so I'm really looking forward to incorporating the online course in some of these experiential learning opportunities. I definitely see it expanding. I mean, it's here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere, it's here to stay. And the way I would like to see it expand is I'd like to see the blended environment really grow, where it's not entirely virtual, it's not entirely an online experience, where we try to bring the real world, real face-to-face, real one-to-one connection as much as possible. So I see the Adobe Connect expanding. I see a lot more face-to-face virtual kinds of experiences happening, blended with real-life experiences. The teacher online has to be flexible, and so flexible so that you really are dealing with individuals. And in their world, they are completely individual because they're only sitting in front of their computer. And so you really have to tailor that differentiated instruction. I've never had to apply it more than I've had to apply it in my online course.
I think e-learning provides students with some flexibility in their learning process. They have the freedom to study the material at their own pace. They're not going to a class per se at a scheduled time. They can go anytime they want in the day and study the material. They can go home and continue that studying. So I think there's a lot of flexibility. I think also it's obviously it's technology driven, so there are tools there that are available to them to use, like simulations in physics, which I teach, which are also available in the classroom, but in the classroom they can use it a limited time. There they can use it endlessly. Well, usually what happens, students would contact me via email if there was a problem. We would dialogue it through emails. I perhaps could take a snapshot of a certain page of the program or whatnot. We could dialogue about that. One time I had a conference online where I actually used the software, demonstrated how it was used, and that kind of augmented their understanding. The students were studying electronics at the time in the course, and they were to do some simulations. So on a Saturday, we scheduled a time, and those who were available just came to a designated site, and I was online at home, and we just went through the program. I think e-learning is for independent learner. I think the student really should have a profile that matches independent learner. I think with e-learning, well, at Lamoureux, our school motto is freedom with responsibility. So I think there's a lot of freedom, but yet they have to be responsible, and they have to be responsible to pursue their learning with the resources that are available online. And then when they have difficulties to interact with their teacher, to pursue answers to whatever difficulties they may have, further instructions. So I don't think it's for every student. But I think students who are committed to their studies and committed to learn for learning's sake can do well of it. Well, as a physics teacher, I've had a number of past students come back to visit me, and I've noticed, in fact, I've had some emails from some where they're actually having some assessment online. I know, for example, like at McMaster, a student was in contact with me who their evaluations were being done online. Their quizzes, for example, not their exams, obviously, but their quizzes. And so I think what's true in our world, particularly in the Western world, is that the electronic media is becoming the dominant form of communication with the internet, etc. And our governments and businesses are using electronic medias as a way of communicating with employees and customers. So I think it's important for our students to have experiences learning material electronically, because I think that is the way the West is going, for example. I think it provides an opportunity for students who may have various schedules, maybe they're in athletics or whatever, and they need other options to get their instruction. And so e-learning could be one vehicle for them. I love learning, and so for me, e-learning was another learning opportunity. I learned a new way of delivering a course. And I actually teach a robotics course, and in that robotics course I don't have a textbook. So all the course resources are electronic documents. And so I learned some new strategies within the e-learning environment, which I may be able to transfer into the traditional classroom. I think for the day school students, it's a new phenomena, and so I think the word may be getting out, and more students may become more aware of the opportunity. My stand is that already we're seeing a large number of registrants for this semester in comparison to the first semester in which I taught. So there seems to be some growth already.
Well, I think it can be of great benefit to those kinds of students who work well independently and are trying to achieve a credit that they wouldn't otherwise be able to take at their school. Perhaps the credit's not offered, or it's a remote location, or even a student that has trouble actually attending school. Sometimes these students are better served in this way. There are some things you can do to enhance what's there. So for instance, on my website, what I like to do is often put a video or an audio feed as well. And so in the messages, I like to, break things up with colors and have visuals. You can have your voice play to them. So if they're the kind of kid who needs something read to them,
you're differentiating your instruction.
Yeah, that helps. So there's a lot of interactive simulations that you can use with these courses, and a lot of these things have already been created and put into the course. So it's just a simple activity, and what the students are looking at is the effects of different levels of tornadoes. So they can choose the level and actually have the tornado go through an area and watch what the kind of destruction would be, and they can play around with those levels and that kind of thing. So, and there are other interactive tools that are even, require more thinking for them to do, where they actually have to come up with a scenario for a certain event to happen.